chocolate, chocolate's all pretend. Come drops anything you want. You've come to the right man because I'm the candy man. Who can take the sunrise? Sprinkle it with dew. Cover it with chocolate and a miracle or two. The candy man. Ooh, the candy man can. The candy man can, cause he mixes it with love and makes the world taste good. Who can take the rainbow? Wrap it in a sign. Soak it in the sun and make the groovy lemon pie. The candy man. The candy man can. The candy man can, cause he mixes it with love and makes the world taste good.
The candy man makes everything he bakes satisfying and delicious.
Now you talk about your childhood wishes. You can even eat the dishes. Oh, you can take tomorrow. Dip it in a dream. Separate the sample and collect them all the cream. The candy man. Oh, the candy man can. The candy man can, cause he mixes it with love and makes the world taste good.
Candy man makes everything he makes satisfying and delicious.
Talk about your childhood wishes. You can even eat the dishes. Yeah. Who can take tomorrow? Dip it in a stream. Separate the sorrow and collect them all the cream. The candy man. The candy man can. The candy man can, cause he mixes it with love and makes the world taste good. Yes, the candy man can, cause he mixes it with love and makes the world taste good. A candy man, 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 yes, yeah, candy man.
Your content isn't even art, Jim. Your content isn't even artistic.
You were picking on a guy weaker than you, weren't you, Jim?
I might say it's because you're a loser who's playing to an audience of children.
I'd like to join your posse, boys, but first I'm going to sing a little song.
He's the very best. He's the rudest, rudest cowboy in the
Okay. Okay. Oh, fuck.
You have a bully cabal that you have created to attack people.
Outer heaven.
What else would you call it?
I'd call it the Swedish Squad. We spread hugs and love across the internet.
Bullshit. You know that's not true. You know what you do.
What am I? Name the bully.
No.
Name the bully for a thing. Bully Hunter will help you.
You don't want to build a wall. Instead, you want to use a military approach and run sorties over drug cartels.
Sure, and work with Mexico to rebuild its country. Yeah, sure. If we're going to invest money into something, why not in making Mexico better so that a bunch of fucking people don't run away from that country into ours?
Okay. That's brilliant.
This is like the ultimate condescending argument from somebody that's never ever been in a shitty position in their entire life. Like, I can't even believe that somebody.
What the fuck you're talking
I don't. You can't. Either that or you lack zero empathy or have zero intelligence.
I'm not part of your lying, doxing, harassing teenage fan club. I'm someone doing something in real life.
And I have an army of mercenary children wreaking havoc on web forums from here to hell and back.
You understand I'm a person, don't you? Do you think white people act like this? White people are meant to be polite and respectful to one another, and you guys can't even act like white people. It's really, like, amazing to me.
Jim, it's people like you that need to get a bullet to the head. Because you're promoting hatred, bigotry.
Is it bigotry against pedophiles? Pedophobia. It's pedophobia.
You're low rent, low IQ trash. I was 100% right to call you a religious bigot. It's what you and your fans are.
But as a white person who is male, you're never told that there's anything you can do. You have no idea what it's like to be told you're not supposed to do that. That's not the kind of job for you, because the sky is the fucking limit.
What I was saying was that there's this YouTuber that I admire very much, that I used to admire, but I realized that his game is to punch down. But he always mocks people who are weak, who are small. I can't stand the big guy who bullies me, or tries to bully me.
There is a toxicity that has developed among gamers.
Okay.
Alright? It feels somewhat fascist in the way it's working.
That's amazing. Okay, hold on. Here we go.
Hey kids! It's time to have fun! Ready, set,
What the fuck did that say? This is so good. Whoever edited this video, that was the perfect ending to it, I'll be honest with you.
Hello everyone. You know who this is. Yet you have absolutely no idea. Of course.
Wow. Somebody gonna be famous. Real famous.
I sit here writing to you now with my exceptionally long penis buried deeply and warmly into my vagina butt.
Isn't that neat?
Charlie Hunter 77 has joined the game.
Call 911. This place needs to be
flawed and it's obnoxious.
You have a bully cabal.
You don't find people being bullied into suicide on 4chan.
So that's 3,000 rejections total. I aim as low as possible. I aim for obese women, ideally ugly and obese. I would do anything just for a 300-pound ugly white girl.
I said it's not even hot outside.
You are not allowed to bring her to the hospital. No, you get no permission to fucking do it.
You gotta be kidding. It's just like this declaration, right, of male dominance.
Put that in your pipe.
I definitely cheated on Super Mario with Sonic the Hedgehog.
Stop doing this stuff.
He's like the blue seductress who takes me out into the night and does wonderful things to me.
Enough! Stop!
How can a Yorkshire Terrier live in the wild? It's in plain sight, but you just don't see it. You know what I mean?
Well, welcome to the stream, chat. You know, it's a bit of a somber mood with this one. So, let's start it off right. Charlie Kirk was a good man. I am not. I don't think many of us are, to be honest with you. Personal, private, professional, finding a good balance between all of them, giving it an honest effort in what you're doing and who you are and how you present yourself, makes for a great slogan on a t-shirt, but it's very difficult to actually walk the walk. In life, we come across tragedy and misery quite often. And because we're decent, because we're human, we express ourselves empathetically to others that are undergoing a hardship. We give them a cordial greeting, we say we're sorry, we shed a tear, even if it's somebody that we don't personally know, somebody that we've worked with or associated with, somebody that was a neighbor, somebody that was a friend of the family, a distant cousin, but a complete and utter stranger, which Charlie Kirk is to me. I don't know Charlie Kirk. I've never associated with Charlie Kirk. Hell, years ago, I made fun of Charlie Kirk. But I can tell you that his death has had an impact. You know, I didn't even get emotional when I talked about dying. I'm going to be fucked up on this stream, I'll tell you that already. There's something about what happened to him that's unnatural. It feels surreal. It's just a man who went to a college campus because he's enthusiastic about getting people involved with politics, about getting people interested in voting and taking back their destiny, about seeing his country as fallen off the path that it should be progressing upon, and trying his best to right that. He went to college campuses to engage students of all different political affiliations, whether they were right-wing or left-wing or independent, with the hopes of sparking conversation, of breaking them out of the propaganda-derived narrative that they've been living under, that this country's been a victim of for nearly a half-century now. He sought to engage with these students to try to liberate them, not just their mind, but their souls as well. And he was shot for that. He was killed in front of his family, in front of his wife, and in front of his children by a man who did so because he was a sexual degenerate, because he liked to fuck other men in their ass when they were dressed as a husky, because he was so polluted and perverted and vile and vicious, so tainted by a corrupt ideology, by the dictates of groups that preach communism, that preach anti-capitalism, that are anti-freedom, that are anti-association, that seek to weaponize shame and use it to justify their lifestyles while trying to destroy yours. That man was the antithesis of what Charlie Kirk was. He was anathema to what he stood for. The man that took his life is a worthless human being who deserves no mercy or sympathy. And yet his actions have robbed the world of a man who would have had an impact that would have been felt for generations. And you think that might be hyperbole? It is not. This last election to get Donald Trump into the office, after Biden had put himself into the office, took a great effort of many people. People like Prescott in Pennsylvania who got the Amish vote, and people like Kirk who went to college campuses to engage people who are disenfranchised or disinterested or apathetic. Because it's so easy to be apathetic these days. It's so easy to tune it out, to let it go. Because when you admit how bad things are, when you admit how rotten and corrupt and disgusting, and how you have acquiesced and you have compromised, it kills you. It wounds you to admit how bad the world and our nation is, that we've allowed it to become that way. And so people went out and they tried to engage people like me, people like you, to get them interested again. Hell, maybe many of the people that Charlie Kirk engaged with wouldn't even vote for Republican after talking to him and agreeing with him, but they would have been more politically engaged. They would have understood what was happening in our country, and they wouldn't have just sat passively by like most of us do because it's comfortable and it's convenient. His impact helped to win Donald Trump the office. And I can tell you this now, there are a lot of people who have grievances against Trump and the administration who don't think they've done enough. They think they're just another administration like any other administration. My counter to you would be this. Can you name any time in the last 10 to 15 years where people could have spoken their disagreement with what is currently going on, with what happened to Charlie Kirk and the people, the vile, vicious little creatures that celebrate his death, without being banned and demonetized and thrown off every platform which exists? The very fact we are here talking about it shows that the shackles which have chained us for nearly 2 decades on the internet have been broken by hunting down corruption, by taking away USAID money, which was shuffled about by donors with their own interests that are against the United States, swapped through NGOs which are fictitious, paying Nepo babies and their cousin's brother's sister, all to help trickle it down to the street level, where thugs make our cities living hells, where we allow those who call themselves Antifa and others to burn our cities to the ground, to harass our citizens, to help criminals run free and illegals take benefits. That's been completely cut off at the tap. RFK is currently working and passing, might I add, a change in vaccine schedule protocol. Right now is the MMRC, that's mumps, measles, rubella, and chickenpox vaccine. He's expanded it and pushed it down the road. Why? Because they've found statistically that if you delay giving that vaccine to children, that you cut in half the mortality rate, the risk of them getting injured. He's also taken dyes and chemicals out of our food supply and engaged different producers to help America get healthy again. People like Kash Patel, for all the jokes we like to make about him, have already caught 4 of the FBI's top most wanted which, might I add, is equal to what the FBI during the last administration got during the entirety of their term. Musk, as well as those in Doge, have cut so much money and given so much back. You know, I think when we used to have conversations about what this country can and cannot do for our citizens, when we used to talk about having to make sacrifices, allowing people to be sick and homeless and destitute and suffer, that was a false argument by twisted, greedy, corrupt people who stole our money and misused it for their own nefarious purposes. And once they're cut out like the parasitic leeches which they are, we'll be able to afford things. Social Security won't be at risk. Medicare won't be an issue. Welfare will actually work for the people that need welfare. A lot has happened in 6 months. And a man like Charlie Kirk was at the forefront, known by a majority of these people who have done all of these things. And every goddamn one of them liked him. Nobody's run out with a tell-all book talking about Charlie Kirk being a greedy bastard who stole money. Nobody's talked about him being a sexual degenerate. Everybody said he was a man who lived the life that he presented to the public. And that is a rare fucking thing. It's a diamond in the rough. You don't see that on the internet, in our culture, in our age, in our generation. It does not fucking exist. And so we got a man like that. A man that believed in religion, believed the goodness of his fellow countrymen, desperately wanted to see his country rise above the stagnant decay in which it had been laying and languishing, and a tranny-chasing furry shot him in the fucking neck. His children and his wife had to watch him bleed to death. The pain and confusion he would have felt just at the moment of death would have been atrocious, because he would have known, my God, my fucking family is watching this. The shooter, a leftist, had planned this out with the help of, and I will make this declaration now because I know I am 100% correct, the support of others, material and financially. Those that I guarantee you will find connections to political groups, to the very organizations that you said money cut from. He killed him after asking a question about transsexual violence. People like to make little quips about how ironic it is Charlie Kirk was shot when he believed in the Second Amendment. Well, how ironic is it that the question about transsexual violence was the one preceding him being shot in the neck by a man that has sex with transsexuals? I've watched for the last week as people on the left, those in Antifa, those within the Democratic Party, those in the mainstream media, and those in entertainment have gleefully delighted in his demise, that have found satisfaction in the notion that a family man who is trying his best to make the country better by the metrics he believed in should just be killed, and that that's funny, and that's great, and that's acceptable. And it is such a sterling example of what we have dealt with for years in this country. And enough is enough. I am angry because Charlie Kirk is dead, but I am hopeful because this decayed, wicked thing is going to die with him. We have accepted too much. We have allowed our empathy to be weaponized. We have allowed the lowest common denominator to ruin high-trust society by taking the rights and the liberties of our citizens and using them to harm our citizens. This is not the act of counterculture. These are not protesters. These are not people voicing their disagreement. These are people who are at war with the concept of what the United States of America is. They are at war with what Charlie Kirk represented, which was a young, responsible father who had a job, paid his taxes, and loved his children. They are at war with people who believe in a Christian God. They are at war with people who are Caucasian. They are at war with men. They are at war with heteronormativity. They are at war with normalcy itself. They seek to topple over our capitalist society, to take away our rights and liberties, to make us live in fear and terror of their tyranny, because they derive pleasure from it, because they want to see us suffer as they suffer, as degenerate fuck-ups and failures, whose lives are marked by folly and foibles, who have accomplished nothing, who need the money of men like Soros to be able to feed themselves because they can't work a job, who live with their parents because they can't get out of the nest and fly on their own, who seek to use the government as a supplemental new parental figure who will take care of them throughout their entire life and who will fund their endeavors to make our lives a living hell. These filthy fucking communists, these left-wing agitators, these liberals do not deserve mercy, do not deserve rights, do not deserve liberties. They should be cut out, excised as a cancer and removed from society. That does not have to be violence. We are not the left wing. We do not need to enact violence to start a revolution. We need to put our foot down and say, no more. We are not going to risk the rare commodity that a Charlie Kirk is on another sexually degenerate man who is confused in life, taken advantage of by an educational system which has been infiltrated starting all the way back in the 1990s. Starting with political correctness, moving its way into Common Core, which was created by a man who has given speeches and given interviews where he explicitly stated he does not like white people and he hates seeing white kids do well in school. These dumbed down, stupid, uneducated children we have allowed to be held hostage by an academia that is perverted and perverse are funneled up into the colleges and the universities where communist agitators in the guise of professors funded by NGOs by people like George Soros fill their heads with enough shit to make them walk out with a fucking 36 and shoot a man in his goddamn neck in front of his fucking kids! Enough. 20 years. The internet has been turned to shit. 30 before it, our government and society. Everything that made this country good has been ripped and stripped and torn away from us. I ask you, why can you not leave your house with your door unlocked? Why do you accept the notion that you are going to be the victim of a violent crime? Who said you should be? That isn't city life. That's degeneracy. Why should you have to suffer in poverty? Why should you have your speech restricted? Fuck the left. Your speech is more important. Why should you cow down to tyrants who steal your money, take your rights, and make you a slave to their disgusting, perverted worldview and ideology? Enough. These people are barely human. All we share in common with them is biology and nothing else. And I'll say this to you now. As somebody who's worked up over the events, this did affect me quite a bit. You know, when I got sick 4 years ago, I was diagnosed with cancer and autoimmune diseases. As time progressed, it got worse. I've had multiple heart attacks, multiple strokes, rib fractures, back fractures, burst fractures in my spine. Something that had crippled me to the point where it took 13 months to be able to walk again. I'm in palliative care through my network of health providers, which is difficult to get in. You have to get in by committee. They have to review your medical forms and see if you fit because there are a limited amount of slots. But even looking at mine, they said that hospice was on its way and death was around the corner. I am sick. I am horribly sick and in agony every day of my life. But even facing that, as somebody who grew up in a Lutheran household whose grandfather was a Lutheran minister, I still didn't turn to God. It wasn't something, even death didn't make me turn to God. I was apatheistic, somebody who was disinterested, who felt that it didn't apply to me, that whatever my fate was going to be, it was going to be. But Charlie Kirk's death has had more of an effect on me than I can reckon with. Not just me, but my wife. They talk about the concept of martyrdom, about the blood of martyrs and what that inspires in people. Charlie Kirk helped me find God. I want to be a man like him. I want to aspire to that. What's happened in this past week is bigger than I think most people can conceptualize. I think we look at it as another misery and another tragedy, even though we see the reverberations of it around us. But I can tell you, from what I have observed, and I am fairly decent at observing things, I'm not infallible, no one is, but from what I have observed, this is impactful in a way that most events aren't. And that this will have a lasting effect. TPUSA, which was the organization that Kirk ran, was a part of, had, I believe, around 900 chapters that were in colleges and 1,200 or so in high schools. I might have reversed the numbers, but roughly 2,100 to 2,300. At last count, after Kirk's assassination, that number is now at a requested 36,000. An 18 times growth in 5 to 6 days. People are not tolerating it. They're not putting up with people grave dancing upon this man's corpse, of mocking his wife and his children. Government is not going to sit by. People like Stephen Miller and Kash Patel, RFK, and Trump knew Kirk. Trump talked about how Barron met him and liked him. People in power right now are actually quite personally affected by his assassination. People around this country are quite affected by his assassination, because it's easy to picture yourself as him. Who was Charlie Kirk? He was a family man. He was somebody that loved his children. He was somebody that wanted his country to do well. He worked a job and supported his family and loved his wife. How is that something that needs to be killed? Why would that be a man that needs to be murdered? And who in their right mind would celebrate that? Too many people have looked at this and said, Jesus Christ, that's me. I am that man. And they want me dead. So for this stream today, we're going to talk about what happened and the people involved in it. And while as bad of a tragedy as this is, and as heartbreaking as it may be, at least to me personally it is, that this is a historically hopeful and important moment in America and in American society. You are standing at the threshold of a second renaissance. And it is a fucking bittersweet tragedy that it took the blood of a man like Charlie Kirk to help play a part in that. We'll take a small break and be right back.
The best part of this whole goddamn thing is that he is not martyr material, so his death will mean nothing. It will activate no one. It will impact few.
God rest ye merry gentlemen, let nothing you dismay. Remember Christ our Savior was born on Christmas Day to save us all from Satan's power when we were gone astray. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy, comfort and joy. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy. Dun, dun, dun.
Fired from my fucking job. I was just fired from my job. I was just fired from my job. I was just fired from my fucking job. I was just fired from my fucking job. I got fired. I got me fired from my job. I woke up and told myself the shit from the Charlie Kirk shit from yesterday. What the fuck?
To find out where I work and takes my job, takes my security away from me for a thought.
So, I was just fired from my job.
That sent that video to corporate and got me fired. Thank you.
A mission that they were ultimately successful in this morning. I did receive an email from HR letting me know that my position at the Slut Factory no longer existed.
Hey guys, I haven't made videos like this, but I just got let go from the University of Florida as an employee.
God rest ye merry gentlemen, let nothing you dismay. Remember Christ our Savior was born on Christmas Day to save us all from Satan's power when we were gone astray. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy, comfort and joy. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy.
You have no idea what you just have unleashed across this entire country. And this world, you have no idea. You have no idea the fire that you have ignited within this wife. The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry.
So, before we get to the responsible individual, the one that pulled the trigger, and those associated with him, I wanted to talk first about the reactions most people saw taking place online repeatedly. Put together a little compilation clip.
Homie dead. Fuck your homie dead. Fuck your homie dead. He got shot in the head. Fuck your homie dead.
He's dead, y'all. Thank God. One down, couple more to go. He's dead. He's dead. He's dead. Bye, Charlie Kirk, bitch. Bye. Piss me the fuck off. Bye. He's dead. He's dead.
Now, what do you think he pissed her off about? Did he steal her Twinkies? Take the bag of Oreos she has laying on the floor where she eats them like a pig down her fat fucking gullet? Is that what Charlie Kirk did to you? Did he steal your Oreos, fatty? You'll see how vile and disgusting they are. They take actual, genuine, legitimate joy, not trolling, not trying to own the conservatives, not trying to bait them and piss them off, but actual, factual glee and joy from the misery and suffering of his family.
He's dead. Bye. Got shot. Not my problem. Bye, bye, bye.
How do you look at the death of Charlie Kirk?
I think he deserved it. I really believed he deserved it.
I don't know about his positions. I feel like he was so controversial and he probably shouldn't have a platform in the first place. So, yeah, probably a little deserved.
I'm glad he's not with us anymore.
What did you say?
I'm glad he's not with us anymore.
I'm just really glad Charlie Kirk just got himself fucking shot, because he's right. Empathy is dangerous to society. So no one should give a fuck that he's dead.
Catch that boy, beat his ass out his socks. You say you a killer? No, you not. Fuck you not. I use fighting words, but I do not box.
Gotta have the fat black chick dancing. And need the problem glasses white liberal in her 30s and 40s, angry because only progeny she'll ever have are cats that'll probably get run over by cars once they finish consuming her corpse after her untimely passing from wine-induced seizures. I don't know. Charming group of individuals. It gets better. They're all such a diverse cast of characters. I bet if you closed your eyes right now, you can picture what each and every one of them is going to look like. You can picture in your mind and hear in your mind's eye exactly what they're going to say, because we've become used to it. It has become the de facto default in how we interact with the left in America. They are the angry, snarky, rude, and cruel, seeking to diminish you and your accomplishment and the accomplishment of anybody throughout history for not meeting up to their self-made and self-imposed and imposed on you as well rules and ideology. They're just shitty fucking people.
I saw the video of it.
Did you hear the news? Did you hear it? Mr. Potato Head himself got pew pew, and you...
Was the news that you got hit with a frying pan and that's why your eyes are at different angles? Is the news that you looked into the sun a little too brightly during an eclipse and now you can only see out of one side of your head? Is that the news?
So, I think he's still alive. What was he wearing? What was he saying to produce such animosity in people? Thoughts and prayers.
Fuck him. Fuck him. Fuck him. He got what he got. He deserved what he got. Fuck him. Fuck him. And if you have a fucking problem with what I'm saying, fuck you too.
Have you spoken to anybody about the great Charlie Kirk assassination? It's also like, it's tough not to laugh at this stuff, you know?
I mean, don't we all love knowing that there are still vestiges of the last administration and vestiges of these NGOs and vestiges of Soros-implanted people in positions of power? Like this man who thinks it's awesome that he was killed and wants to hold a celebration about it. I love that he works for FEMA. Do you remember FEMA? The people that let flood victims just sit in the woods and die because they didn't give a shit because they voted red? You remember that FEMA? Do you remember the FEMA who had an executive who told people that they were going to outright avoid anybody with a Trump sign in the yard who wore a red MAGA hat? They need to be purged from the government ranks. They need to be removed as the communist sympathizers that they are.
You know what I mean? Like, he's a lunatic and like awful and kind of deserves it in his own way.
So how does FEMA feel about Charlie Kirk getting shot?
Everybody's kind of laugh. I don't know. I mean, the people that are in charge of this place are like dipshits now.
If you're celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk, you're a bad person. You're going to hell. Man. Fuck Charlie Kirk. The off-ramp to the high road is closed. We are not going to be made to feel bad about y'all bullshit hero that consistently spewed harmful rhetoric, that consistently put people's lives in danger with the bullshit platform that he was given.
Yeah, let's talk about Charlie Kirk's bullshit rhetoric that was dangerous and aimed at making people suffer. He believed that men were men and women were women and that there were biological differences. Now, you can argue that point, but I'd ask you to watch any fight that's ever existed throughout human history, whether amateur or professional, that was between a man and a woman. Who do you think's going to win out based on the hormones going through their body, the musculature, and the different bone densities? Who do you think's going to have the upper hand in that fight? Is it going to be men or women or equally the same? But that was one of the horrific things that Charlie Kirk said. Charlie Kirk also believed in God, a terrible thing. It's not like there are billions of people all over the world that believe in God, a variety of gods, different pantheon of gods, but have a religious faith guiding them, giving them an objective morality to interact with a world which is decayed so badly, it is quite understandable that you would kneel in front of any altar to try to find some guidance to navigate the shithouse that these people, like this man, have made the world.
By all of you racist goofies.
Christian minister here. Charlie Kirk is not a martyr for Christ, despite the claims on social media this week from the right.
Yeah, not a martyr for Christ. Let's see. A man was quite literally killed for his beliefs, which were informed by his religion. He's literally the definition of a martyr. Now, I know that, along with academia, that there have been quite a few religious institutions that have been infiltrated. Some sex more than others. Looking at you, Episcopalians, where they'll have somebody that's wearing a rainbow flag talking about fucking puppies and how that's God's will. But I'm going to disagree with the social media minister on Charlie Kirk being a martyr.
The best part of this whole goddamn thing is that he is not martyr material, so his death will mean nothing. It will activate no one. It will impact few.
I have breaking news. We think that Charlie Kirk just got shot in the neck. Hey, ooh, ah, ooh.
These are the people that work in HR departments. These are the people that have middle management and ministerial jobs. These are the people that decide where you work and when you work, what you say and what you don't. This has to stop. They don't deserve the rights and liberties we have because they seek to completely upend and destroy the country that gives them those rights and liberties. They seek to give those rights and liberties to people that aren't even from this country, and then ask the citizens that are from here to pay the bills for them so they don't have to work or struggle or do anything. It is a fundamental underpinning to Antifa communist ideology to seek to destroy the United States of America through any means necessary, by wasting its money, by disenfranchising its people. You want to talk about blackpilling? That's blackpilling. Not as in the knowledge of it is something that makes you depressed, but as they have weaponized the concept and use it as a weapon on the battlefield of this nation. These people do not seek the betterment of their neighbors or their fellow citizens. They do not seek to enshrine our country and its rights and liberties. They seek to see its utter destruction. Why do you think they have pushed so hard for a narco-tyranny, where a criminal is coddled and a citizen chastised? Why do you think they want illegal immigrants to have more rights than citizens? Why do you think that they want their speech rather than free speech? Because they hate you.
Oh my god, guys, did you hear? The world's finally started to heal. Charlie Kirk was shot. Ooh.
Charlie's dead. How nice.
He said that gun deaths are worth it to keep the Second Amendment.
I guarantee you that man has licked a cat's vagina. I guarantee you that he has shoved his face in a pussycat's vagina and gone to town on it.
Alright, bet, bitch.
You're telling me I wake up from a nap and a cis white man's shot and killed? Oh my god.
Charlie Kirk got shot and he's dead!
I bet if you ask Charlie now if he thought a few deaths so that everybody got to keep their Second Amendment rights was okay by him, I think he'd probably say, as long as it wasn't me.
Now, this person strikes me as the type that would be sitting around enjoying patchouli in her house as she tries to cast Wiccan hexes on people. That's the vibe I'm getting. But you know, it does speak with those senpaku eyes to the mental instability of those that seem to be drawn to this communist ideology, to Antifa, and to this left-wing politics. That they see normalcy as their enemy. Because if they can make normalcy wrong, if they can make straight relationships wrong, if they can make the happiness of men and women together wrong, if they can make acting as a decent human being wrong, then in its place they can put themselves and enshrine themselves. Their dysfunction, their degeneracy will now be upheld as the right thing, and we've seen this happen. It's taught to your children in school now. It went awfully quick from bake the cake to put the dress on, Timmy, because the pedophile, I'm sorry, the map, we need to be politically correct, the map is coming by, and during drag show story time in the library, you're going to be getting raped, or as we like to call it, politically correct, surprise sexed. And that's a good thing in their mind.
Guess you shouldn't have manifested that shit.
Bye, Charlie Kirk. Like you said, people getting shot and killed for the Second Amendment is so worth it. I never thought we'd agree on anything.
Oh no, someone shot Charlie Kirk. Look, I don't know who needs to hear this today, but that's how you pick up a woman.
Why is it that every single woman in this entire montage, and this was not intentional on my part, I promise you there were hundreds of these clips, and every woman fit an archetype that reminds me of the cousin nobody wants to talk to at Thanksgiving. The bitchy one that gets a little drunk a little too early, overshares their opinion on everybody in the family and their relationships, makes everybody severely uncomfortable, and makes them really reconsider showing up for New Year's or Christmas.
Already seeing some of y'all do it, that moral standpoint of, oh, you know, I don't care how you feel politically, nobody deserves to, wrong. Some people do deserve to. He was a demon.
I swear I'm not happy about I'm not happy about this news. I'm not happy about this news. It's so unfortunate.
Now, you do know that this kind of guy right here, this dude right here that has contributed to fatigue levels across the country, is the sort that would cry if you told him Cleopatra on Netflix was a shitty movie because of the black girl boss you put in it. But here he is, gleefully extolling how great it is Charlie Kirk was killed in front of his children. These overly fragile people who completely shatter upon hearing words and thoughts they don't like still seem to think that, you know, action, murder, it's okay, it's not a big deal. Don't say something offensive, but feel free to go out and slit the throat of anybody that upsets you. That's okay. They have twisted and turned everything on its head. We live in bizarro America because of them. They took our prosperity and our future and our trajectory, and they dead stopped it and turned it into a stagnating pit of shit. But this event that has happened, this assassination by this vile degenerate, has reawakened people. And I promise you, behind the gleeful little smiles and the little TikTok dances, they're fucking scared. And they're not scared because we're violent like they are. They're scared because they know when people finally have enough, shit is going to actually change. They understand that change is already on the way, and now it has been accelerated to a phenomenal rate. And that scares the shit out of them.
Let this be a lesson to all those other conservative freaks, those little weirdos with podcasts. Just know your necks are on the line. Your necks. No. Your necks.
The red-colored people are like, he was such a good person. Why did he get shot? If you've seen the video on Twitter, please...
I'd just like you all to know, by the way, for the sake of sanity of the audience, I have edited out all the chirps. There were numerous chirps in some videos. I have edited them all out. You're welcome, audience.
Listen to the last 10 seconds of what he said before he went. And if you... Honestly, y'all, he had it coming. I'm so sorry.
That's why he shot Charlie Kirk.
Charlie Kirk is dead?
Well, I guess Rocco will never be able to float. Oh well, too bad. Bye, Rocco.
I just wanna be part of your
this is the sort of chick that can't figure out why none of the guys on Hinge. Is that what the kids use nowadays? Why none of the guys on Hinge will date her? Here's a guess. Maybe those chicken wings you call arms. Maybe younger men aren't interested in chicken skin. They don't want to be encased in a fucking cocoon in a sleeping bag's worth of skin, Karen. Maybe they're not interested in that. I don't know. Maybe find another app. I don't know. All you kids and your high technology on mobile phones, I don't get it. I'm an old-fashioned sort of individual. If I were to look for a date, which I don't because I have a wife, but if I were to look for one, I'd be trying to look up bulletin boards and news groups. Do those even exist anymore? Highly doubtful.
Live by the sword, die by the sword. He did say that gun deaths were an acceptable side effect of gun rights.
And your ex-husband said your pussy smelled like tuna. So I guess we're even. Have we seen the TikTok of your ex-husband, the one where he talks about how horrible your vagina smells? How the putrid odor would peel paint? How people kept coming up to him and asking him, why are you throwing out rotten eggs every fucking week? Why is it pointed? Why is that smell weaponized and pointed at my house? I'll never be able to drink eggnog again. Make your ex-wife shut her fucking legs.
They clapped him. No, hey, they clapped his ass. Hey, bro. And the cherry on top, the icing on the cake was the shooter was not black. They clapped him. Get him out of here, coach. Get that nigga out of here. No,
I'm just gonna say it. Because all of you are thinking it. I can't keep my mouth shut. Why Charlie Kirk? Yeah, he's annoying. There were two better candidates if you were gonna get the job done.
This bitch she better never walk on the set of a Wizard of Oz remake or a fucking house is gonna fall on her.
And before you tag the official FBI account, make sure it's the FBI.
We need to locate Charlie Kirk's killer, because I want to give him a nice, firm handshake. Thank you. So,
this, I think, is the most mind-blowing. And I'd like to say something, too, because I don't know if everybody's familiar with what happened directly after this. Now, it was updated. The store's management fired the employees, but they did it after a couple of days. But immediately after this happened, the person that went in there said that FedEx contacted them and said they would do it for free. They could come by a FedEx location and they'll get that shit done real quick.
we came in for an order earlier to print a poster for a vigil tonight.
Yeah, so
for
we
somebody
don't print
that passed.
propaganda.
It's not
It's propaganda. I'm sorry, we don't print that here.
Alrighty, so what's your name?
Carol.
I'm print supervisor.
I'm one of the managers.
Yes.
So, unfortunately, we
So
do not
they
print-
say they don't print
we don't
political
print
propaganda. So this is somebody that passed away a couple years
That's
ago.
political
from Ebola.
propaganda, unfortunately. I'm
So
sorry.
this is for a prayer tonight, for a prayer vigil?
It's still propaganda, unfortunately.
I printed
What
other
makes
things.
it propaganda? Because he's a political figure, and I don't have to. Yeah.
So the left is too violent, huh? The left pushes it too far. Why don't you tell that to Donald Trump, who just declared war on the entire left?
He hasn't, but I did. Also, as an aside, people watching may not know this. It's taken me years of working at it, but that might be a trans woman. I know it's very hard to figure out. They are so incredibly feminine and so incredibly beautiful. This is the sort of individual you've been told over the last 20 years is a woman. This is a person you've been told is indistinguishable from a woman. That this is feminine enough to be exact. You wouldn't even know. You'd go on a date with them. You'd talk about having babies. You would be completely shocked to find out that's not actually a woman. Just wanted to give you a little pro tip, a little GamePro pro tip for you.
War! Declared war. But no, we're the violent ones. Do you hear how stupid you people are? Do you really think you are the problem? Do you really think you aren't the issue?
I think that you should return that neck choker to Hot Topic, because whatever employee told you it made you look pretty was lying to you, sir.
Asking me to mourn Charlie Kirk's death is like asking someone who's a victim of SA to mourn the person who SA'd them. He's my oppressor.
Charlie Kirk, right here. Right here. That motherfucker is not surviving, and inshallah he does not survive. My day just got 100% better. Rest in peace.
I thought I'd do a quick check-in after yesterday and all of the drama. I want to reiterate that it is not wrong or unethical or unkind.
All I'm getting, like, I've tuned her out. I just want Fruit Loops. It looks like a toucan shit on her head. It looks like an animated GIF, a meme, floated by in an ephemeral way and took a rainbow shit right on her bald head. What? See, these people aren't even liked by those directly around them. They are antithetical to the survival of this country. But believe me, as bad as they are for us, her friends and family said, no, that looks good. Go with that. You slay, boss bitch. You fucking slay, girl power.
To laugh at the misfortunes of terrible people. Let's never forget that Charlie Kirk used his whole head to defend your Second Amendment right to own guns.
So I keep on seeing like posts about this Charlie dude, whatever, Kirk dude, whatever, regardless. And let me just say this, I'm surprised that y'all didn't get rid of him sooner. And I'm surprised that you guys aren't getting rid of more people. Like, his wife deserves to go too. Y'all keep on talking about his wife and kids. They need to go too because they're carrying on that mentality and that lineage. Like, get rid of the whole family. I'm so sorry. Why did you guys stop with him?
Get rid of the whole family. So this leftist wants to take it a step further, not just happy with grave dancing on Charlie Kirk. She wants his wife and children murdered, and that's not a sentiment that's unique to this one individual, like there's just one crazy person out there. That's a sentiment that's been bandied about by many people. Of course this sort of behavior would be well tolerated on TikTok, which is owned and funded by communists. A literal puppet tool of China has no problem with a black woman calling for the death of white children in America. They think that's neato. Now, we've already gone for 1 hour. We have a lot more to come. We're going to take a small break, and then we're going to get into the furry aspect of this before getting into the tranny aspect of it. We're going to talk about the assassin, the Troon Goon, and all the shit that he got up to, as well as the reaction to what's been going on to these people. So I'm going to play a 5-minute break. Grab yourself a drink. We'll be coming back and diving right into furries. Because of course we are. Because these people are the living embodiment of a cliche. By buying a goddamn American capitalist hat. Oh, got to use that USA dollars to do it. Where are you going to do that, you ask? Well, you don't really ask, but I'm going to show you anyway. Fuck you. I'm going to show you anyway. Oh, look at those hats. Quality fucking hats, ladies and gentlemen. Wear it around town, it looks fancy. Buy a hat for your hat. Buy a hat for your hat. Buy a hat for your hat. Look at those hats. Quality fucking hats, ladies and gentlemen. Buy a hat for your hat. Buy a hat for your hat. Wear it around town and it's fancy. Buy a hat for your hat. When I'm sad, pay me. It's the only cure, really. When you're very sad, you need to pay me money. You gotta buy my fucking hats. Alright, that's the only way you're gonna teach these communists their fucking place. These lemon-loving motherfuckers. It's by buying a goddamn American capitalist hat. Oh, gotta use that USA dollars to do it. Buy a hat for your hat. Quality fucking hats, ladies and gentlemen. Buy a hat for your hat. Wear it around town and it's fancy. Buy a hat for your hat. For your hat.
私の愛のゆりかごあなただけが夢の使者に呼ばれる朝が来る細い首筋を月明かりが映してる世界中の時を止めて閉じ込めたいけど
I love America too much. Love the red, white, blue. Love my apple pie and baseball. Sometimes I just look at the Statue of Liberty. It's so goddamn beautiful. Oh, that is good stuff. You know what? Buy a hat for your hat. Buy a hat for your hat. You know what? Buy a hat for your hat. To sell you beautiful fucking hats. We all love Jim's hats. Let me move a little bit. Over on Shopify. Metokur.myshopify.com. Buy the finest hats available. You gotta do this. You're gonna do that over at my store. Buy my hats. Teach the communists a lesson. Fuck the lemons. Buy a hat. You gotta do this. Buy my hats. You gotta do this. Buy my hats. You know what? Buy a hat for your hat. You gotta do this. Buy my hats. You gotta do this. Buy a hat for your hat. Quality. Buy my hats. You gotta do this. Buy a hat for your hat. You gotta do this. Buy my hats. You gotta do this. Buy a hat for your hat. Oh, holy shit. Oh, what a fucking beautiful ending to this. Oh, God. Let me get a cigarette for this one. Now, to add insult to injury, the degenerate, communist, Antifa-loving assassin had to have more than just one simple proclivity towards degeneracy. It wasn't just chasing down men in dresses, though that was a very large component of it. But once people started to dig in to who this person was in their online trail, and might I remind you that both the assassin and their roommate/lover had over 30 hours after the assassination to delete any and all of a digital trail. Now, no, that wouldn't work in court. Eventually, government agencies will get records and find out everything that was said. But that will put a stop to sleuths on the internet looking up information and using it to piece things together. On top of that, 30 hours post-assassination, neighbors had given interviews where they had said that the people living at that location had a lot of people showing up from out of state, coinciding with the timing of these people arriving 2 to 3 weeks before the assassination was carried out. Numerous trans individuals who were affiliated with radical organizations started making posts with the specific date that Charlie Kirk was going to be murdered. So what sort of communities was our assassin a part of? Well, let's read one of the headlines that came out recently to try to get a grasp on who they were. Alleged Charlie Kirk assassin Tyler Robinson played furry porn video games online. Now, what the New York Post fails to, follow up with, or maybe they should have just rewritten this headline. He didn't just play furry porn video games online. He funded them through Patreon and Venmo and other avenues. He was not just a consumer of furry degeneracy. He was funding its creation. Now, more than likely, this was a fetish that he shared with his roommate/lover. So imagine in your mind the disparity between these two mornings on the day of the assassination. Charlie Kirk wakes up and he kisses his wife and he hugs his children. There are fucking bluebirds singing outside. They have a breakfast together and he talks about how he's excited to go to another university stop on his tour and inspire a younger generation. Hard cut to that of Tyler Robinson and his trans girlfriend. Probably still trying to get the fursuits off their body, sweaty, covered in shit because I'm sure it's a diaper fur rather than just a simple furry. Screeching at each other about the Communist Manifesto before he trods off to go kill a man that is infinitely more valuable than he will ever be. Now, some of you in the audience might not know what a furry is. I've done videos on it. Many people have done videos on it, but perhaps you don't. So I put together an informational packet, a nice couple of minutes that really just gives you the high points. So we can really align ourselves as we go on this journey to find out who this troon goon, Tyler Robinson, really is.
You don't have to answer. You can just bark at the teacher and they can't say anything about it because it's how you identify.
What?
Some people in my school, you don't have to be able, you can identify as an animal now. And like,
if the teacher calls you, you go, moo.
Yeah, you can do that now and they can't say nothing because it's part of your identity.
You're kidding.
No, some people do it and they walk around with tails on.
They do that in your school?
Mm-hmm. And sometimes, like, I'll be walking down the hallway and somebody that's a furry will, like, bark at you and they'll have tails on.
God, imagine being a 90-year-old woman and you're medically worried about things like brain tumors and plaques and memory loss. And you just don't know. Am I having a mild stroke or is my daughter telling me people bark at her in school with tails up their asses?
And animal ears.
What are you going to school for?
I guess education.
They don't. Mercy.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Please don't be like that.
Oh, I'm not, Granny.
I don't think I want to be that kind. Who gets up this stuff?
Huh?
Who makes up this stuff?
I don't know, Granny. People, I guess they just get bored, so they
I can tell you, Granny. It's the fucking communists.
start making up new identities.
It's not America anymore, is it?
It's not.
He also used some other phrases they referred to furries and other abhorrent things that people do out there.
If you haven't heard of a furry, you're about to hear of one now. So have a listen to this school, this worried parent in the States.
There are kids that identify as a furry, a cat or a dog, whatever. And so yesterday I heard that at least one of our schools in our town has in one of the unisex bathrooms, a litter box for the kids that identify as cats.
Daisy, James and I always take a vote on who's going to get the tricky ones. This came your way, Daisy. Furries, and apparently there's some furries, there's a furries trend in your hometown of Brisbane.
Sadly, yes. It turns out that at a Brisbane private school, there are students who have jumped onto this new furries trend and who do, in fact, believe they are cats.
Who was
You know, I think the easiest way to deal with furries and other kin in the younger population is to bring them to the vet. Sign them up for a vet visit and tell them that it's time for them to get spayed or neutered. And I'm pretty certain they're going to stop wanting to be a furry.
Tyler Robinson, the 22-year-old Southwest Utah resident suspected of killing Charlie Kirk. Officials said bullets found with the alleged rifle used had messages written on them.
Inscriptions on a fired casing read, "Notices bulges, capital OWO, what's this?" ? Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist!" exclamation point, "Catch!" exclamation point. Up arrow symbol, right arrow and symbol, and 3 down arrow symbols. A second unfired casing read, "Oh Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Ciao Ciao." And a third unfired casing read, "If you read this, you are gay, LMAO."
Those messages appear to be part anti-fascist, part internet meme culture.
Today on the show, as Charlie Kirk's alleged killer is charged with murder,
Tyler James Robinson,
which could see him face the death penalty, we're going to explore Tyler Robinson's links to a bizarre internet subculture and what his case reveals about a growing wave of meme-driven violence across America. I'll be speaking with my colleague Josh Boswell, who this weekend exclusively revealed Tyler Robinson's links to the largest furry-themed website on the internet, Fur Affinity. A term that I could...
Oh, you heard it, folks. It's time to gas for affinity. It's time to clean up the internet. We need to make a list of these dwelling places and purge them. They've been infiltrated by Antifa. Now, as insane as this is, as we begin to put together a picture of who the assassin was, living with a trans radical, becoming radicalized in leftism and communism, being a furry that's into all sorts of weird shit, having a Fur Affinity account, and funding furry video games. What do you suppose the mainstream media's read on this is? Well, for the first 3 or 4 days, they desperately tried to paint it as if this was a right-wing, MAGA-loving Republican. When that obviously struck people as batshit insane, they started saying, well, we don't really know. When that also struck people as being, a little bit far-fetched, I think we do know. This is the approach. Listen to exactly what ABC says. I can't even put it into words, the spin that this is.
We have seen an alleged murder with such specific text messages about the alleged murder weapon, where it was hidden, how it was placed, what was on it, but also it was very touching in a way that I think many of us didn't expect. A very intimate portrait into this relationship between the suspect's roommate and the suspect himself, with him repeatedly calling his roommate who is transitioning, calling him my love, and I want to protect you, my love. So it was this duality of someone who the attorney said not only jeopardized the life of Charlie Kirk and the crowd, but was doing it in front of children, which is one of the aggravating circumstances of this case. And on the other hand, he was, speaking so lovingly about his partner.
Speaking so lovingly about his partner, the furry trans fucker said the phrase, my love. And doesn't that just tug at your strings? We should let him go. Why are we arresting this? By the way, I titled this ABC True Love Story. It is shocking that they would have the balls to try that. But then again, this is a news industry that's, printed such headlines as this doozy. How CNN found the Reddit user behind the Trump wrestling gif, where CNN tried to blackmail a teenage boy because he made a gif of Donald Trump and the WWF. And they felt that was so terrible his life needed to be destroyed for it, and made him promise never to do it again or they would dox him. Mainstream media is captured. Do we need any more clear example of what is surrounding us right now with the news media empires that exist? How many lawsuits do they need to lose to Donald Trump before they stop this bullshit? What laws need to be reenacted, as in Obama removed them, to stop them from doing propaganda and narratives rather than actual fucking news? Let's take a look at this love story. Now, it might be a little hard to read, and I'll leave it up on screen for you. Feel free to peruse it yourself. But if I were a detective on this case, and I read this exchange, which is so robotic and unpeople-like, it's unpeople-like even for insane Antifa leftists. If I were to read this, my conclusion would be that it has been prearranged in case the assassin gets caught. It has been prearranged to make certain that anybody that was connected to this happening, to this assassination, would not get in trouble. Don't worry, my love. I'll take care of you by conjuring up some of the most robotic ChatGPT-inspired text messages between two living fucking human beings. You could Marty McFly your ass 200 years ago and talk to somebody who would be like a fucking caveman when you pulled out your smartphone, and they would still text message better than this. They would be more human than this. They would read this, and they would come to the conclusion that human hands did not type this. Now, aside from the furry issue, there is the Antifa issue. Now, you might have seen Trump's announcement from the White House very recently.
Well, it's something I would do, yeah. If I have support from the people back here, I think would start with Pam, I think. But I would, if you give me, I would do that 100%. And others also, by the way. But Antifa is terrible.
Are there other groups that you can think of?
There are other groups, yeah. There are other groups. We have some pretty radical groups, and they got away with murder. And also, I've been speaking to the Attorney General about bringing RICO against some of the people that you've been reading about that have been putting up millions and millions of dollars for agitation. These aren't protests. These are crimes, what they're doing.
Now, he followed it up. You can read this. This is from the White House account, which is, of course, putting back out information from Donald Trump on his social media. I am pleased to inform our many USA patriots that I am designating Antifa, sick, dangerous, radical left disaster as a major terrorist organization. Now, he had designated Antifa once before, but there were certain steps he didn't go through, and applications of law such as RICO acts and others, that would have actually made it useful. But this is where it gets different, because this time we're talking about people that killed Charlie Kirk. And there's not going to be any quarter given. Now, you may be wondering, what's this connection? You know, why would we assume that he's related to Antifa just because he has a furry trans roommate? Well, that would be because Antifa is deeply involved in the trans community, and that a disproportionate amount of trans people are members of Antifa, statistically at odds with what we're told about versus the general population. This is an article that was put up by Andy No. This was put up back in January, something he's worked on for over a year or two. Are you confused by who's involved in the anti-fascist trans terror cult linked to multiple brutal homicides? The New York Post published a graphic with my new report showing the key players, including the so-called cult leader, Jack Andreas Z's Lasota. This was a tranny that was so hell-bent on creating terrorist acts around the world, within the United States and in Europe, that they faked their own death, that they used money from all these different Antifa groups that you see so frequently when you see news clips coming out of Portland and Seattle. They faked their death, they got funded, and they went out and did shit. And Andy is somebody that personally knows how violent this group is, how violent Trans-Antifa is. Here's a video of him being chased down the street and beaten in the head with a rock. You notice there's Andy running for his fucking life. Of course, the Northwest doesn't really give a shit about citizens anymore, as these masked assholes run through the streets creating mischief and crimes and not being held to account for any of it. By the way, what you're about to watch, nobody got in trouble for any of it. Nobody was apprehended, nobody was prosecuted. See them tackle him multiple fucking times and start picking up bricks. Also, another thing that seems to be a favorite of Antifa, how many riots around the United States have you noticed where there are pallets of bricks just sitting there, just waiting to be used? It's all so strange. There we go. There's him getting hit in his fucking head. Of course, if we jump ahead a little bit of the video, you'll see they've cornered him in a hotel restaurant somewhere in the city, and are literally trying to get him to come out so they can kill him. He's made it into the hotel. This is all captured by security
Get
cameras.
off my property right now.
Holocaust denying bitch.
Trespassing.
I can't wait for you to come out, Andy. You thought the milkshakes were bad last time. We're gonna beat the fuck out of you, bitch. Y'all, Andy knows here at the Nines Hotel. Andy knows inside the hotel calling the cops on everyone saying that he's gonna get killed out here.
Nazi scum! You see my face, Andy? Andy, you see my face? You see my fucking face? Where is he now? Where is he? Yeah,
Now, maybe you're sitting and you're watching these different videos and you're thinking to yourself, okay, well, the assassin went after Charlie Kirk, was in a transsexual relationship. The people that assaulted Andy Ngo, they were transsexual Antifa members. But that doesn't really mean there's a trend going on. Well, how many stories would you like? How many stories would you need to see the trend that's clearly taking place in this country? How about the Supreme Court troon? The man who attempted to kill Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh identifies as a transgender woman who was deeply mentally ill and suicidal. According to documents listed or first obtained by the Real Daily Wire. What a shock. A mentally ill suicidal troon? I've never heard of such a thing. How about this? Minneapolis school shooter Robin Westman confessed he was tired of being trans. I wish I never brainwashed myself. They're the one that wrote a diary, a tranifesto, talking about how much they wanted to kill little white Christian children. These are happening at an accelerated rate. These are funded and supported by people who tell them that they've done nothing wrong. Everything they think, every action they take is right and just. They're fighting an evil, corrupt capitalist system. They have every right to do this. Anybody that doesn't accept them as a pretty little woman is clearly a transphobe, and they need to be murdered in front of their family. You need to chase them down the streets and corner them in hotels to beat them with bricks. You need to shoot judges that don't agree with you. You need to go to churches and schools and kill people. It's absolutely stunning. But this is the mindset of the last 5 to 10 years. How many riots did you watch between 2017 and 2021 where Antifa members in their black regalia would go throughout city streets burning and breaking and looting and causing violence on everyone and anyone? Have we not seen autonomous zones such as Chaz and Chop be established by Antifa members and then crime escalate to absurd degrees? Chaz was established for less than 2 weeks before three children were murdered because of their wanton criminality. Entire cities were overturned, police driven out, politicians on their knees kowtowing to insane communists who use violence and scream and silence anyone who has anything against them. And that, by the way, is a favorite tool of the left. They love to talk about equality and equity. They love to talk about free speech, except when it's something they don't like. One of the best ways to highlight this is what happened with Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel fired. ABC cancels his show. People say the FCC stepped in. That's government pressure. That makes it censorship. That makes it wrong. Disregarding network protocols for being on the airwaves on those specific channels. Disregarding that his demographic appeal between 18 and 49-year-old males was 120,000 viewers. 120,000 viewers in the prime time range. I've got 12,000 people watching me right now. I'm some anonymous asshole on YouTube, and I have a tenth of Mr. TV Man's audience. 120,000 viewers is something that a large enough Twitch or Kick streamer can surpass. They were doing better numbers than Jimmy Kimmel, who is supported by corporations like Coca-Cola and Pepsi-Cola. that have deep pockets and push his shit into the American zeitgeist. Poor Jimmy Kimmel, I can't believe you fired him. That's censorship, and censorship is wrong. Well, let's see what Jimmy Kimmel had to say about people having the exact same thing happen to them.
On the subject of terrible things posted online, the biggest story of the day today was Roseanne. Roseanne, you're not going to believe this, but she tweeted something outrageous. I know, yeah, right. The president did it too. It's crazy. Anyway, ABC decided to cancel their highest-rated show, Roseanne, following a tweet in which Roseanne compared an African-American woman, a former advisor to President Obama, to an ape, which did not sit well with ABC management or anyone with a brain, really. So they announced that this first season of the show is also its last, which is a huge blow to business. I mean, we don't have much on this network. We're hoping the NBA Finals goes 11 games this year. Trump has been suspended from Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and even Snapchat. But don't worry, Mr. President, there are still plenty of apps you do have access to. You still have Spotify to drag.
Oh, he found it so funny. But Jim, you might say, that's not really apples to apples, is it? You're talking about somebody, Roseanne, in the entertainment industry. Talking about Donald Trump, who's a politician. I mean, these aren't really equivalent to a Jimmy Kimmel being pulled off the air. It's a bit of a different situation. Well, if we wanted to do apples to apples, let's look at Kimmel's reaction when Tucker Carlson, another TV personality in entertainment, got pulled off the air.
Fox News has severed bow ties with Tucker Carlson. After all these years, they are parting ways, which means he was fired. I mean, that's really what parting ways means. Tucker couldn't be reached for comment. He's already on a plane to Moscow to meet with his manager. But what a shock. I mean, what an absolutely delightful shock this is. Now Tucker can spend more time at home tanning his testicles and touching himself to that sexy green M&M. Sadly, he's probably not done poisoning old people's brains. The question now is, where will he do it next? Will he go to OAN? Will he go to Newsmax? Will he crawl back up Satan's fiery beehole from whence he came? We don't know. One of the most despicable mother Tuckers ever to appear on American television.
Yeah, he didn't care at all. He wasn't screaming free speech and protect their sacred right to say what they want to say. He was giggling and guffawing as their careers were destroyed. Do you know what it's been like to be a right-winger on the internet for the last 15 fucking years? Do you know that I had both my Patreon and my Teespring store pulled down because I put up a video talking about how insane transsexual surgeries were. And I put that up on a website that wasn't YouTube, somewhere off in the beaten path, and I had both my accounts removed. I've had 7 Twitter accounts killed because it would offend people to say certain things. The most recent of which was Keffels, who also happened to be transsexual, getting upset that I told them that it was crazy and unfair to start posting pictures of Josh Moon's mother and start talking about where she lived and what could be done to her. I got my account banned for that. The one before it, I got DMCA'd. You'll see who did that in a little bit. You have to walk on fucking eggshells, or at least you used to. In the videos you would put up, in the live streams that you would produce, in the social media posts that you would put forward, in the forums that you would join. Try going on to a site like Reddit or Twitch and saying anything outside of far-left ideology. If you're not sucking Stalin's cock, you're getting banned the next day. That was the reality. And the entire time it happened, the left tricked you into sitting on your hands. They tricked you against fighting back. Do you know who's damaged them quite a bit with the same tools they used against you? People like fucking libs of TikTok who repeatedly post people's information on Twitter out in the open and directly connected to what they said. And the left is seething about that. You can't restrict my speech. What was it they said for a decade? Freedom of speech isn't freedom from consequences. Do you remember how they get smug and giggle that whenever a content creator would lose every piece of a platform they had, or a simple user would be banned for daring to question a narrative or have a contrarian opinion? Do you remember that? How they gleefully tell you that. But now that it's been applied to them for doing actually vile shit. They seem to think it's a bridge too far. They want you to tie your hands behind your back so they can hit you more easily. Don't you get upset about Kirk's death. Don't you get upset about our insanity. Don't you get upset about us burning your cities to the ground. Don't you get upset about us interfering with every fundamental right and liberty you have. How dare you fight back? That's not fair. These are children, tantruming. They argue like a child argues with their parent. And they win with their parents through attrition, and thus seek to use that same strategy on us. If they whine long enough and loud enough, they will win. That is what they have always done. That is what they default to. They don't believe in things like you believe in them. They don't hold truths to be objective. Everything is relative and therefore not immutable. It can be moved around. It's tangibly interactable with. One day they can tell you that a certain action is wrong, and the very next day they'll tell you that no, it's right, but it's only right for them. They have done this for decades. And enough is enough. Now, one of the other core components to the last week of things that have been going on are not just people on television. It's not just the mainstream media. It's not just the normal users. It's not the furry troon chaser pulling the trigger. And it's not just the television personalities on the news programs or the late night shows. It's the talking heads on different platforms and social media. So we're going to take a look at some of them after another tiny break. You got to give me a little leeway here. I'm sick as shit. But I came back to do this one because it actually has some significance to me. So when we get back from the break, we're going to take a look at Hassan and Destiny. Two people that have come up in conversations. And judging or going off of what I just said, you should have an idea of where this is going to go. And what kind of application of logic and reasoning and basic human thought patterns we're going to use to apply to them. So we'll do a small break, and then we'll come back and we'll continue with the leftist Twitch heads, Destiny and Hassan. So, we've talked about the different groups that incorporate what I would call the left-leaning side of this country, or those that have been captured by it. The ones that are, I would say, at the forefront of it, such as Antifa, or NGOs funded by people like Soros. There's another one that's a multi-millionaire, perhaps a billionaire, who's a big CCP head. Of course, it would be a Chinese communist. People like Bill Gates in the tech sector. And their influence trickles down. It's like a corrupt rain, and everything it touches mutates and turns into this horrid shit. You saw a lot of companies, especially back in 2020, with the BLM rising up and burning cities down because St. Floyd was accosted by a police officer, such a good boy, a drug addict that puts guns in women's stomachs and threatens to kill them while robbing them. Clearly a fucking gentle giant and an angel amongst us. But when that happened, how many companies do you remember that donated obnoxious sums to Black Lives Matter, an organization which is malfeasant in its usage of money, which has used it illegally to enrich its own staff members? Do you know Sony gave, I believe it was $50 million? Do you know Pokemon gave millions of dollars? Things like that make me question why foreign corporations think they have a right to fund any political movement in the United States. I would consider that an act of fucking war. And yet they feel comfortable doing it. But it's not just them directly doing it. This money trickles down and it touches these corporations. And these corporations and these companies, they own a lot of things, a lot of platforms. Such as the Twitches and the YouTubes. Because those aren't companies in and of themselves. They have parent companies. Alphabet Incorporated is the one that owns Google, which is the one that owns YouTube. Bezos is the one that's the divine, upright, central fucking figure if you really want to talk about Twitch. That's why Elon Musk directed a tweet at him. So while you and I and everyone else has to walk on fucking eggshells, not to make jokes, not to make points, not to be political, not to speak up, their chosen get to do and say anything they want. And they take that same mindset. Oh, well, it's funny when it happens to you, but when it happens to me, it's a fucking tragedy. How many people on Twitch have you seen banned for egregious things and they were unbanned within hours? Whereas if that had happened to anybody else on any other platform on the internet, they would be fucking dust. How many times on Twitch have you seen a streamer that's popular and funded by the people in the know that didn't get their hand slapped even when they said ridiculous things? What ridiculous things might a streamer say that would probably get them fucking euthanized if they said it on YouTube? But as long as you're a leftist or a communist on Twitch, that's totally fucking okay.
If you cared about Medicare fraud or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott, okay? You wouldn't make Rick Scott, former governor of Florida, Rick Scott, you wouldn't make him the current, what is his current office? What is he? He's the Richard Lynn Scott, is an American attorney, businessman, politician, Navy veteran, serving as the senior United States Senator from Florida, a seat he has held since 2019. Fuck are you gonna do, bro? Write a petition? Let's do a crusade, he says. Let's do a fucking crusade, he says. Let's hang Hassan and Mamdani for treason, he says.
Now, what do you imagine, chat, if I were to make a video where I said, hey, let's kill some fucking politicians and then specifically name them, and then also address people in the audience that didn't like me while waving a gun around, talking about how I was ready to fucking dust them? What do you think? Do you think I'd last on YouTube? How many times have you gone to look for a video and you can't find it because nobody can say dead, killed, or murdered on this fucking platform? They have to say unalived. Yet here's Hassan waving a fucking pistol. Here's Hassan talking about killing politicians, and he's beloved by Twitch.
The fuck are you gonna do? America deserved 9/11, dude. I'm saying.
Let's talk about our favorite flags.
Oh, like overall, what my
Yeah.
favorite flag?
Yeah.
Hezbollah. Look it up.
Oh.
I'm not even kidding. It's actually a dope flag. I have no problem with the Houthis. Yeah, because I don't. What do you mean? If you think I'm a terrorism supporter for that reason, then yeah, I'm a fucking terrorism supporter. What are you talking about? I'm sick and tired of it. Left-wingers, liberals, you need to be fucking showing your opponent's guts on there, okay? You need to be gutting them. You need to be shanking these motherfuckers and letting their intestines just ride on stage. What the fuck is this shit, man? Slice them up. Slice them and fucking dice them. What the fuck is this?
Oh, a little bit of gamer rage there. Letting the testosterone flow through him. Now, I know some people in chat said that's an airsoft gun, Jim. Again, do you think even for a fucking second that I could do that on YouTube? Or how about Facebook? What platform do you think is going to let anybody really do that? Not even on Twitch. I would guess if you were one of the anointed few that are on Twitch TV, that if you try to do any of these things, like supporting terrorists, talking about killing politicians, waving around firearms or firearm replicas, you would be gone. They would say that you are a danger to the advertiser revenue, and you represent an existential threat against Coca-Cola. But here's Hassan doing it. And it's not just him. There are others, such as Destiny, who can really, again, say anything he likes. Not as bad as Hassan, let's be clear on that. But can say whatever he really deems, reasonable to say on the platform, off the platform, without really any, ramifications. Got away with it for quite a while. Quite a long time. From one platform to the next. Do you know that Destiny's account on Twitter got banned for going after Keffels? As well as my account, roughly around the same time, actually. But do you know whose account got reinstated? It wasn't mine.
You need conservatives to be afraid of getting killed when they go to events so that they look to their leadership to turn down the temperature. The issue is right now, they don't feel like there's any fear. Like, I don't know. It's like memes. It's just memes to everybody, I guess. I don't know, bro. I don't know. I don't care. I'm playing video games. Okay, I'm done today. I don't give a fuck. God, it's gonna be so fucking gay if I get killed in the next fucking 2 months of shit I'm doing. Well, the cuck shit out here. Please don't anybody make any actual fucking the most cucked, weak ass, fucking bullshit ass speeches on my side. God, if it happens, holy shit, I'm gonna make a death note before I go out to go live and not. God, it's so cucked. It's so optics cucked. The question you should...
The whole idea of optics cucking, I think, was a seed planted directly in his ass by Nick Fuentes when he slept over. Just saying, wink, wink. I don't know if you're picking up what I'm putting down, but that seems to be a bit of rhetoric that he picked up in the more recent era.
Should ask is, why is nobody on the right afraid enough to say, hey, Trump, can you, tone it down a little bit, bro? We're getting killed out here. Literally. Can we, chill? It's unacceptable that feeling doesn't exist over there. And the reason why it doesn't is because...
I'm ready for the great cleansing, dude. Cleansing? The cleansing. What cleansing? When we genocide conservatives in this country.
Heartfelt streams right in front of the Honda commercial. It's the kind of ad that, it's the kind of show I want to watch right before I see Coca-Cola wish me a Merry Christmas. Let's genocide the conservatives. Have a Merry Christmas. Now, this one isn't necessarily related to that, but I thought it'd be funny to put this together just as a fuck you, just for the fun of it. I'm going to let it play without commentary. Enjoy.
So, just so because I don't want to misrepresent you, strawman you, or anything, I want you to just, you yourself, say what your position is.
Sure. So for me personally, at this point, I'm pretty ambiguous on it. I guess I don't spend too much time dwelling on it. But for the sake of the argument, I guess the position is that incest should be seen as a morally neutral thing. That you cannot assign a moral evil or a moral wrong to the act of incest itself. Okay. And then that's usually people will come in guns blazing trying to do that. And then, yeah, that's the default position.
Destiny is so cooked.
that.
Oh, well, there you go. I try to, dude. Keep an eye on my chat. I'm a pretty edgy dude.
I want you to be more edgy.
Okay.
We can both wear Kekistani shirts. Go out Chatelet.
Oh, gross.
I'm a little too old for that.
You want to do that? We go Chatelet on a playground.
I don't know if I really want to associate with the Kekistani dudes, but you know, my kid is actually he's almost 7 years old. Maybe in like a couple years he'll be old enough for the Kekistani stuff. I'll get him a shirt. All right?
Have you had the big conversation with him yet about whether it's morally right to fuck him?
It's pretty hard for me to have big conversations about anything, my dude.
Oh.
3 days later.
Would you say that you have daddy issues with Destiny?
I in the traditional sense, maybe no. In some way, yeah, I do. Of course, because he's not around, as much as, other people's parents are. In some way, yeah, it was a genuine tweet. But it was mostly a joke.
But do you actually think that Hitler was a good guy, though?
Good guy and even better leader.
Good guy, even better leader. Okay, what part of Hitler makes him a good guy?
Good guy. He ended a lot of child endangerment things. He ended he cracked down on a lot of child abuse in Germany. He cracked down on rape, stuff like that, sex crimes, other stuff that has to do with kids. He was a vegan himself and loved animals. He loved nature. He passed multiple nature protection acts, and then also as a great leader, he was definitely one of the greatest, if not the greatest leaders Germany has ever seen. He fulfilled literally all of his promises.
Zoomers rise up, I guess. I don't know. You could take that as you like. But I think there is a different rule set that both sides are playing by. One, which I guess could incorporate independence too. You know, let's be a little more generous. Let's say there are just two sides to this equation. One is the far left, and the other is fucking everybody else. And everybody else has to play by a set of rules that makes them miserable, stifles their creativity, their innovation, their art, their desires, their speech, everything. And every facet of their life, this is how it is. While the left dictates, from a false sense of morality and a twisted form of logic, that everything they do is right. But in the end, it's just a weak justification to make it okay to be a degenerate. They want to murder normalcy and replace it with degeneracy. That's all it's ever been about. That's why so many people, when you're talking about these leftists and these Antifa and these communists, they all look the same. They're all molded the same. They all believe the same thing. And so one of their rank and file, somebody who hated life and hated the country and hated God, decided he was going to kill Charlie Kirk. That he was going to rob two children of their father, a woman of her husband, a church of their parishioner, a political organization of their activists, a neighborhood of a man who probably helped out in innumerable ways, that they had a right to remove this person from the world because they said things that person didn't like, because they thought things that person didn't disagree with. And they've been taught throughout their entire life that doing that and feeling that way and thinking those kinds of vile, poisonous thoughts are okay. We have allowed the creation of an infrastructure in this country which is a direct threat against our prosperity. It is a direct threat against our progeny. It is a direct threat against our legacy. We have allowed this to be cobbled together from the aspects of both the public and the private sector, along with governance. People have been put into institutional positions, into administration positions, into human resources, into academia, and they work with a collective zeal to make you suffer because you are wicked and evil. They tear down your monuments and put up their idols. They tell you the people that are a part of your history are wrong and vile and disgusting, and the things that they did don't matter because there is no context to them outside of their time, their thought, their ideology. They cannot see another perspective. They cannot engage with a disagreement. They cannot accept ideas that were not propagated from on high from their communist leaders. They will not grant you peace. But this is not a stream that is about hopelessness. That is not a stream that is about being black-pilled, looking towards the future with dread. This man's death has impacted people in ways I don't think I can even truly put into words. This one action has planted seeds in so many people. It is a harvest that will be reaped, maybe not tomorrow, maybe in a generation, but it is most definitely coming. The corruption and incompetence and the lunacy which we have seen wiped away so far has been a step-by-step progress towards where we should have been. Stagnation in both ideas and practices are the death knell of a nation. And while people typically think of conservatives as those who conserve and keep things stationary, we find ourselves having to hold the mantle of those who want to uphold tradition, as well as those who want actual progress towards greater heights. Humanity as a whole stands at the threshold of amazing technologies. I will not see them. You may not see them, but your children and your children's children will. AGI, artificial general intelligence, AR and VR interaction with the world itself, rocketry, space flights, advancements in medicine and food production will revolutionize the world. It would not be extreme or far-fetched or in the realms of purely science fiction. You would not be a Gene Roddenberry or a Heinlein if you were to think that perhaps in 30 or 40 or 50 years, our children could experience a utopic condition called post-scarcity, where their days are filled with seeking knowledge and pursuing hobbies, unburdened by any of the meticulous day-to-day chores that need to be done. We are actually on a path towards that. But walking hand in hand with that science and that progress and a better and brighter tomorrow must be a reasoned people. Must be people that govern themselves by fair rules. Not equity, equality. Where meritocracy is something that reigns. Where ideas can be raised and disputed at the same time. There's an organization on college campuses. You might have heard of it, you might not have. It's called FIRE, which is a Foundation for Individual Rights in Education. And the little guy that runs it's a little like old-fashioned, picture in your mind, old-fashioned, old New Yorker Jew. And he would talk about how he'd sit in his apartment in the Bronx and they'd scream out the windows at each other. The Italians making fun of the Greeks making fun of the Jews, everybody shitting on the Irish. And of course, that's how they grew up. And he talks about what it was like to be a young man going to a college back in the 40s and 50s and that kind of legacy from those two decades, where they felt that the left was suppressed, and how counterculture grew up, and how he was so idealistic that when they took over those institutions, that they would enact true free speech. And he was disheartened to find that when they finally occupied the halls of power, when they were the administrators and the governors, the heads of the corporations, that instead of enacting free speech, they enacted their speech. And they sought to punish anyone else. The counterculture revolutionaries were just as bad as the old shit. We cannot allow that cycle to continue. We have so much ahead of us. You are going to live through an era of it's going to be the high-tech 1950s, 1980s. Every day is going to be a fucking joy. We are threading the needle, doing the goddamn impossible, getting so close to it. This stagnant remnant of a decayed, polluted, perverted ideology is only going to hold us back. You have seen in action the fruits of what it bears. The death of this man who did nothing to deserve it. I wish I wasn't going to die. I wish I would get to see this. But I am so grateful that I get to see the beginning of it. That my last bit of life isn't going to be simply looking at the misery around me and knowing that I was right and that it was miserable, but being able to look at the misery around me and know that it will be fixed. Because of this man's death. Because of men and women like him who are honest in what they are and truly seek to change things. So be optimistic and be hopeful. It is bittersweet that to come to this point, he had to be a martyr. But that's what makes it all the more meaningful. I don't expect going forward to stream very much. My health is not good. I really wouldn't have come back to talk about things if it hadn't been something that actually personally affected me, or that I found it be of actual significance. This is one of those things. I don't know how long you've watched me for, or what you've listened to that I've created. I've had different phases and different content throughout the years. All sorts of different subjects. But I would hope that in your observation of the things I've created and the things I've talked about, you would come to the conclusion that while not infallible, I'm very good at observing certain behavior patterns. And I am telling you, with the most certainty I have ever had in my life, that America's golden days are truly ahead of it. We've just got to get through a little bit more of the shit until we reach that. And when you get there, when you cross that finish line, when you're holding your children's hand as they look out upon the bounty that the United States of America can provide, remember to say thank you to Charlie Kirk, the American martyr. We'll take one more break and I'll be right back. We'll go through super chats and then call it an evening.
Your content isn't even art, Jim. Your content isn't even artistic.
You were picking on a guy weaker than you, weren't you, Jim?
I might say it's because you're a loser who's playing to an audience of children.
I'd like to join your posse, boys, but first I'm going to sing a little song.
He's the very best. He's the ruthless cowboy in the
Okay. Oh, fuck.
You have a bully cabal that you have created to attack
Outer heaven.
What else would you call it?
I'd call it the Sweet Squad. We spread hugs and love across the internet.
Bullshit. You know that's not true. You know what you do.
What about name the bully? No. Name the bully for a thing. Bully Hunter will help you.
You don't want to build a wall. Instead, you want to use a military approach and run sorties over drug cartels.
Sure, and work with Mexico to rebuild its country. Yeah, sure. If we're going to invest money into something, why not in making Mexico better so that a bunch of fucking people don't run away from that country into ours?
Okay. That's brilliant.
This is like the ultimate condescending argument from somebody that's never ever been in a shitty position in their entire life. Like, I can't even believe that somebody.
What the fuck you're talking
I don't. You can't. Either that or you lack zero empathy or have zero intelligence.
I'm not part of your lying, doxing, harassing teenage fan club. I'm someone doing something in real life.
And I have an army of mercenary children wreaking havoc on web forums from here to hell and back.
You understand I'm a person, don't you? Do you think white people act like this? White people are meant to be polite and respectful to one another, and you guys can't even act like white people. It's really, like, amazing to me.
Jim, it's people like you that need to get a bullet to the head. Because you're promoting hatred, bigotry.
Is it bigotry against pedophiles? Pedophobia. It's pedophobia.
You're low rent, low IQ trash. I was 100% right to call you a religious bigot. It's what you and your fans are.
But as a white person who is male, you're never told that there's anything you can do. You have no idea what it's like to be told you're not supposed to do that. That's not the kind of job for you, because the sky is the fucking limit.
What I was saying was that there's this YouTuber that I admire very much, that I used to admire, but I realized that his game is to punch down. But he always mocks people who are weak, who are small. I can't stand the big guy who bullies me, or tries to bully me.
There is a toxicity that has developed among gamers.
Okay.
All right? It feels somewhat fascist in the way it's working.
That's amazing. Okay, let's turn that off. Hold on 1 second, chat. So you're going to have to forgive me. Usually I'm very good about this. Throughout the years, I think there have been only once or twice I've really not been able to sit through the entire things. But you're going to have to trust me on this. I'm fucking horrendously sick. So I'm going to, I wanted to dedicate my time to the stream rather than this. So I'm going to do this for a little while. I appreciate everybody that gave a donation. Usually I would address everything. I'm going to scroll through and just pick stuff at random. If I miss yours, it's not that I'm trying to shit on you or I don't appreciate it. It's just, I just don't have the fucking energy to do it. I'm just at that point. So, let's start this off here. From Mama Oka, or Oko. Hey, Jim. Hope and pray you're doing well. How's the family? I was going to ask if you do sponsorships. I want to sell your hats for you. All I want to return is free hats. How about one free hat per 10 hats sold? Well, my wife just recently put a pause on the store. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's back open now. But she had put a pause on the store because of the de minimis exemption that was going out of phase, and that didn't really affect business overseas. If you order from Europe or Canada or wherever, you'd be fine. But if you're in the U.S. and you got a product shipped into you from somewhere else, there might be a tariff or a fee attached to the delivery. So we had to go and talk to the different suppliers, and I think she talked to like 2 or 3 of them, and they were like, no, we have production facilities in the U.S., it should be fine. But we had to cut other ones too. So I wouldn't really do sponsorships or hats. I can give you free hats, but I wouldn't really do sponsorships or anything like that because I legitimately don't know what the fuck's going on right now. Every company involved in e-commerce and drop shipping is running around like a chicken with their head cut off. I'm sure if you're a streamer, right, you're probably aware of this happening right now. I didn't really know how much it would affect businesses within the U.S. that do business internationally but then ship back to the U.S. Until there's a YouTube channel I follow, a very like small channel. It's just a couple thousand subs. It's this little Asian dude that runs a toy company up in Canada, but he talks about like the ins and outs of stuff that he does. Right? He'll talk about just what business is like, what it's like running something like that. And he put up a video. He's like, "Oh shit, I can't ship to the U.S. anymore." So that's how I found out about it, the exact cutoff date. So we paused the store. It should be fixed now, but yeah, we had to dump a lot of different items. Not anything super important. They're like bento boxes and a couple of glasses and cups. I don't know why they couldn't produce that in the U.S. Like Printify and Printful, those are 2 of the companies that do supplying for Shopify and others. I believe they have production facilities in like North Carolina and Texas, I think. Outside of stuff like in Mexico and in Canada, and then a bunch of different ones in Europe. But that's a very long answer to your simple question. But there you go. From Chudbud. Glad you're still kicking, Boomer. Odd question. How do I get through to my lib family? Troubling and enraging the assassination was. Your stream on Gale and Brett Spiner really got me through that rough patch. Sadly, Mr. Spiner will never be the same. I would say probably the most effective thing is not to argue out of anger. If this is if this is family or friends, and you truly love them, you have a relationship with them, getting angry is not going to do it. There's too much personal history that will obfuscate and interfere with what you're trying to do. You have to just show them what's happening without being too personally invested, as weird as that sounds. I mean, you want to explain to them why it's enraging and troubling. You have to show them the reaction that it got. The actual glee and enjoyment people were getting. People talking about murdering his wife and children as if his death wasn't enough. And then you've got to ask them, why is that okay? What about that seems reasonable to you? And if I were to express the views he did of faith in God, trust in the government, a better tomorrow, would you be okay with me being butchered? And if you would, we probably have to have a conversation about our relationship. From Sergeant Salamander, Jim, thank God you're alive for this historic moment. Is history going the way you thought it would back during the Gamergate days? Is it better or worse than your expectation? Also, YouTube is suppressing my Leftist channel. Can I get a shout out? Well, that's Sergeant Salamander, Salamander. Be sure to check out their channel. As for my perspective, I think things are better than I would have read them as turning. I thought it was a bit hopeless, very black-pilled in the direction that it was going, and didn't have a lot of faith that people would turn things around. I know people are dissatisfied. They want more to be done. The Epstein thing, I know, really chaps people's asses. But I would ask you in regard to that to truly look at who's really upset about that right now. Because I'm seeing a fuck ton of Democrats and a fuck ton of left-wing Antifa commies pushing that super hard as a divide and conquer tactic. You know, Andy, the one that talked about Trans-Antifa, put out, I don't know how he does this, maybe he's got moles in different organizations, but one of the bigger Antifa chapters had put out what they call an after-action report on the Charlie Kirk assassination, talking about what they should and shouldn't do. And they talked about how they needed to divide and conquer by bringing up points that would fracture the right and any unity it had. And those 2 points were Israel and Jeffrey Epstein. You know, from like a personal perspective, I think Pam Bondi has fucked this up and fumbled it, and she should be fired and replaced. And I just think every piece of information related to it should be publicly put out there. But, you know, aside from my grievance with that, right, I feel like Trump, at least this go-around, has done more than any president I can remember. I mean, I've told the story before about my politics. You know, Obama came into the office, and I thought, you know, like a lot of people thought, this is like the Black Kennedy. This young guy is going to come in here, and he's going to get rid of the Patriot Act. He's going to get rid of the different national defense authorization acts, I think of like 2010, 11, and 12. He's going to get rid of all these different things, the stuff that Applebaum talked about, Jacob Applebaum, I think is his name, when he talked about tech companies putting backdoors in for intelligence agencies. And do you know what Obama did? Nothing. He did absolutely fucking nothing. Didn't shut down Gitmo, didn't get rid of the Patriot Act, he did nothing. That was soul-crushing. Because you start to think, God damn, I mean, he's young, and you would hope that because he's young, he's not as connected to corruption. But no, Washington is a cesspit. You know, Trump got into office in that first term, and he talked a great game, but I don't feel like he did very much, aside from constantly fight with everybody on the left. But this time feels quite different. So when you're asking me, what do you think about where things are going? I think they're headed in a good direction. And even if you're out there and you hate Donald Trump and you just don't like him as a person and you think he's not a great politician, just understand that he has, at least by some of his actions, proven a point that there is nothing that is too big to be attacked. There is nothing that can't be unfucked. I mean, if you look 10 years ago, people just naturally assumed, as absurd as the argument was, that the military-industrial complex paying $20 per nail was normal. Oh my God, it was such a funny little joke we all told ourselves. It's perverse and fucked up. And cutting that you said money showed that you can unfuck things. So if Trump has any legacy that I think people could grasp onto, it's that, yeah, if you get in there and you're really fucking motivated, you can actually unfuck things. That's uplifting to me. And it sure feels a hell of a lot better now as a general vibe check than it did back then. From Zarina Bamba, use a super chat to change the liners of Jade's Cage. Okay, well, I will make sure to do that. From Isaiah A. Lamau, my brother Logan doesn't think you'd actually have cancer, and he's a big Ethan Ralph fan. He'd probably hate watching you right now. He's the type to drive his vehicle towards a burning building. With a fire truck right behind him, he's a dinghy. Well, I you know, it's not been, I hate to disappoint your brother, not been a master plan of mine to fake cancer. You know, I'd ask yourself to just, you know, puzzle this through logically. I got 12,000 people watching me, and I've had streams that have dipped below 10,000. But on the whole, for the last 5 years and the 5 years before that, it was anywhere from 10 to 30,000 people watching. Now, imagine 10 to 30,000 people watching. If you did that consistently, I mean, really consistently, you'd make a lot of money. Do you think that I'm adverse to becoming a millionaire? I mean, do you think I wouldn't be like, yeah, let's get a fucking mansion. I want to drive a Bugatti. I want to never have to worry about bills. Do you know what it's like to have cancer and all this other shit? The amount of money that flows through my fingers towards treatments? Like, I have to go to places like fucking Mayo, and then I've got to book a fucking Airbnb or a hotel room and be down there for 2 or 3 weeks, and then I've got to go back here, and then I've got to go up to another fucking city to see a spot. It's just little costs everywhere add up. So, I mean, whether, you know, if I have the cancer or if I were faking the cancer, there's no conceivable reason for me not to stream with the amount of money sitting on the table. If I had consistently streamed like a Kirsch or a Pippa or a Destiny or a Hassan, I would have made crazy money. Even with the amount of bannings and shit that I've had drop on my head. But I'm just too fucking sick to do it. I can't fucking do it. And this is, I'll be honest with you, it can get a little annoying with some of the prep work if you're trying to find clips and shit, but that's everybody, right? Whether you're getting paid or not. This is an easy job. You make really good money for talking to people about shit you really think, or making jokes about stuff you find funny. So if I'm not able to do a job that pays incredibly well and is incredibly easy, there's something going on. So again, I hate to disappoint your brother, but unfortunately, I very much do have cancer and heart disease and all this other shit. And I'd have to say out of all of it, the fucking worst were those burst fractures. I can't even put into words that kind of pain. It made me appreciate old people. It made me appreciate the elderly. I never really gave a consideration to what horrific arthritis or bone degeneration diseases were like until I personally experienced burst fractures. And it's like a fucked up club. I went to a clinic after getting my little turtle shell, my little, was it TSLO or TLS, whatever the fuck it is, brace, right? It's this brace to keep your back firm. I went to this clinic and all the seats were taken, right? And so I'm trying to like stand against the wall and not scream. And this guy looks over. I've never met this guy in my fucking life. He literally looks over at me and walks right over to me and he's like, take the chair. And I was like, well, I don't want to do that, sir. I mean, that's your seat. And he's like, oh no, I know. He's like, I recognize the brace. I went through that. It's like this very fucking weird club. And everybody that's experienced it understands how fucking awful it is. Yeah, that was brutal, man. It's like 11 to 14 months just to walk. And I can't even walk that well. I wouldn't even dare to run. Okay. I wish your brother, Logan, were right, if I'm being honest with you. I would love that, I'd fake this and I was healthy. I would take poverty and health over wealth and sickness. Unfortunately, I'm both poor and sick. So I really got fucked on that one. Evil Bunny here. Jim, have money for you and Jade, hoping you're feeling better. Or took enough medications to feel great. Best wishes. Well, I am on a high amount of goofballs, though I was able to decrease it a bit. I didn't want to risk building up a tolerance for the pain medicine stuff. It's been very effective, and the people I'm working with are great. But I'm fucking terrified. That burst fracture shit fucked me up, and I'm terrified of having something like that happen again. And then being on a medicine that's so high dose or so powerful, there's nothing to move up to. So, I had them put me on lower dose stuff and less effective stuff. So I have shit like fentanyl and Dilaudid and other stuff available. Because I am not going through that shit again. Beguile me. Charlie was a good Christian man and a patriot. They couldn't debate him, so they murdered him. It's so sad. We love Charlie. We love you, Jimbo. Yeah, it is strange to me the effect this has had on me personally and my wife. She is equally as fucked up as I am. We've been talking about going to church a lot. We don't know where to. I wanted to do Catholicism, but she wants to do maybe something that's evangelical or Lutheran. So we're just planning to try out different ones every Sunday until we find one that fits us, I guess. I don't know. Again, I'm not a well-versed or super religious man, so don't expect me to talk about this in great depth. It feels, I don't know, like a personal thing. And it feels that it would be somewhat perverse of me to start talking about it too much until I have a handle on it personally, I think, I'd almost compare it back to, if you remember JonTron when he debated Was It Destiny? And he was putting out all this stuff. And if you look back on that, a lot of stuff that JonTron said was right on the money. It was very accurate. But he felt like he was very new to right-wing positions. And so he had something that I like to call like red pill Tourette's, right, in a political sense. He just couldn't help himself. He started throwing out all sorts of shit. And even though a lot of it was very correct, he sounded insane. And so, he was overwhelmed by his enthusiasm for something new. And it kind of took a hold a little bit too much of him. You get what I'm saying? And I don't want to do that with religion. So I don't mind talking about it and the effect this has had on me and the effect this has had on my wife. But I don't want to, red pill Tourette's myself in religion and start running around like a crusader screaming Deus Vult, talking about children crusades to take out the Muslims. You got me? So it's going to take a little while. From Anothi, thank you, Jim. From Dire Central, I found God after 30 years of atheism. I'm grateful the Lord has reached you. Well, like I said, I'm still very new to it. From Charlie Kelly Esquire, here you go, you British cigarette. You put many a smile on my face. Well, thank you very much. From Zykai, hey Jim, question about your feelings on faith. Do you think this is hitting you harder because you feel you're not long for this world? Currently searching for God, Jesus myself. Well, like I said, it's not, when you're facing death and you're sick and, not to be morbid, but like here's I did this stream talking about this is my last stream. I'm fucked, right? And I didn't expect to stream again after that, and I was able to. And I can't explain to you why I've been able to or why this has been prolonged to the amount it has, but it has not been pleasant. I took care of my mother when she was dying for about a year. She had an aortic dissection, which is a tear in your aorta. And they did surgery on her, and afterwards, she was completely crippled. Now, her insurance was okay, but not great, so you couldn't get a live-in caretaker for 24 hours a day. So while I was finishing up college degrees and working, I took care of her all the time. And, over that course of a year, up until her death, you start to pick up on, like, a transitional thing, right? Of what somebody's like as they approach death. It's very strange, but there are stages to it. And it's not crazy and pronounced, right? They're not going to turn pale and scream and then keel over. It's hard to explain unless you've been through it. But watching that, as a person who was in a caretaker position, and now as somebody who's in a position where I got fucked, I recognize in myself those steps. And so you confront your mortality and your death pretty quickly when you know what's coming, and you can see that step-by-step progression taking place, and where I am now, and I can see that where my mother had been. So I know what it portends. I don't just need doctors to tell me that, which they openly do now. I've got a good vibe for it myself. So you ask me like, oh, do you need to be end of life to approach faith? That wasn't what pushed me into faith, or attempting to approach it, I should say. I can't explain it to you. I just can't. I think there are just certain things that will happen in your life, whether they are personal or somewhere off in the environment and the minutia of society, that will just hit you. You will be thunderstruck by it. And it will be transformative, and you can't really explain it. So as far as your idea of a search or what kind of checkpoints, or bullets on a list that you might need to pass, I couldn't tell you. I'm just not informed enough to. I can just tell you that's how it hit me. And I can't explain it better than that. From Fakwa, it's okay to cry, Jim. You're a good man. I'm happy you found God. I quit smoking and I'm joining the military at 35 years old. I've watched your streams for years and I pray for your health. Jim, stay strong. Thank you. Cybrov, you're an OG. Love you, Jim. Well, thank you very much. From Griff Nizzle, I won't lie, I wasn't a huge fan of Kirk, which is fine, and I initially didn't have a strong emotion about his death. I generally save my empathy tank for people I actually know, but the reaction from these demons have shamed and enraged me. It's like a weird realm of a philosophical or metaphysical or theological discussion and it is a hard thing to argue for, because it is a hard thing to build up a latest work of proof or reason for approaching it. But there are some people that just simply exist, and the way they operate and the things about them are just so very different. It's like they just don't possess an intangible, ephemeral piece that they should. There's something missing. And that creates this demonic feeling. And you can't really articulate it in a great way. I mean, you can rage about the definitions, the minutia around them, but you can't really get your hands on it. You can't make it tangible and hold it and say, look at this. So, I mean, I get it. I get what you're saying. And that's fine if you weren't a huge fan. I told you, as far as Kirk goes, I made fun of the guy in the past. But what I saw happen and what I learned more about him and heard him talk a little more as I looked into it, and I saw the effect on his family and his community and the reaction to it, it had a really big effect on me. Name taken. Do my ears deceive me, or is that a new microphone you're using? No, that's the same microphone I'm using. Maybe I finally hit that golden threshold. You know, I've been fucking with audio all the time, getting these stupid little dials queued in on the computer and OBS. Maybe I finally hit the right combo. And now you've cursed it. So if I ever do return and do another stream, it's going to sound garbled and awful. And everybody's going to blame you. From a leather collar, Isaiah 41:10, fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous hand. Sending you and Jade well wishes from Australia. Thank you for streaming today. Rip Charlie Kirk. You know, I do find it amazing. I don't know how many people are aware of this. So Tucker Carlson and the organization he's with started a GoFundMe, essentially, for Kirk's wife and her family. They started it by putting in $1 million, just like the bottom. And I think within 48 hours, they'd gotten so many donations, they're 5, 6, 7 million now. I mean, this really affected people. And you could just see it playing out in all these different little ways, from people donating to that, or all these kids and different colleges and high schools signing up for TPUSA, people in government putting their foot down and having enough. I mean, you know, Elon Musk called out Jeff Bezos, essentially, as an end result of this. And Jeff Bezos has never really been dragged into something like this. And now he's got to duck and dive and try to act like the people that are, you know, at the head of Twitch TV aren't insane, which they are. Generic YouTuber name here. Antifa is funded by the Canadian government via the Canadian Anti-Hate Network. Between the CCP and replacement population, the USA needs to access us. You know, it's interesting. Even though there are interplays between the two different kind of groups, I've noticed this. I picked up on this because I've watched a lot of podcasts shit-talking China, and they're, you know, what is it? They're 50 Cent, 5 Cent Army, their Water Army, whatever they call them. They're trolls, right? The easiest way to differentiate between an Antifa operative online and somebody for the CCP, right, is the CCP, it can't help itself. When they do negative PR, they always have to make it as a comparison. It's never, look how great China is. It's, look at what China did and how bad America did it. Or look at what China thought of and America's too stupid to get it. Or look at what China accomplished but America can't do it. That's very on the nose for the Chinese government. Whereas Antifa doesn't do comparison negging, right? They'll just call you horrible names and tell you you're shit. They don't need to compare you to something else. So it's a good way to kind of pick apart which is which. Just a little FYI in case you run across it in the wild. Also, it's illegal in China to use any social media platforms from the West. So if you ever see an account claiming to be from China, just know that they're a government official, or they'd be in prison for even using the platform they're talking to you on. From ShadowFox24, when they made an attempt on Trump, people realized they were willing to clap a president. When they got Charlie Kirk, they realized they were willing to kill or end every single one of us. Very true. From Funcher Enjoyer, I just want you to know you're an amazing dude, and I wish you and your wife the best. You've always made me laugh in more comical streams. God bless. Well, thank you very much. Do a few more here. From Darby DZ, I was still in college during the first Trump term. Can't believe Charlie's really gone. Vance and Stephen Miller carrying the coffin had me incensed. J.D. Vance put it best. We hope and pray that everyone remains peaceful, but there will be no unity with these people. Which is a shoulder-to-shoulder sort of message that I've heard, not just from Vance, but from Charlie's wife when she gave her eulogy, her public eulogy, that, yeah, this isn't a call for violence. Yeah, this isn't people saying get armed and walk in the streets. But the days of, putting our fingers on our ears and pretending things aren't happening the way they're happening are over. We're just, that ship has sailed. From Shred Muns, hey, Jim. Patrick said some disgusting things about Charlie Kirk. Any idea how we can get him fired from unemployment? Well, I'd say you tell him you're going to take away his pepperoni nipples and he'll probably have a tism fit. No pepperoni nipples for you, Patrick. And we're not going to let you wear your leather jacket when you ride your little motorcycle. From Henry Cunningham. Jim, we all love you over here at Keno Night. Hope you stay strong, and you're always welcome to join us at Zimmer Hall Basement at University of Cincinnati main campus for some Keno. Friday nights, 8-7 Central. Got one from Noob Slayer. You've impacted us all with your insight and humor. It'll last long after you stop streaming. You're unique and have positively influenced many. You're a good man, Jim, and I aspire to be genuine and uncompromising as you. Thank you. Well, that's the vibe I got going towards Kirk. Again, I don't know why it was so impactful, but it was. And we'll end off with this. I think it's a $2 Aussie one from Schizo Garcia. Been watching you since I was 13. I'm 21 now. Sweetie Squad. Oh, thank you very much. Again, I know there are a lot of super chats I passed over and stuff on Ko-Fi and CashApp. I appreciate the support. I don't have the health in me to do them. And my main focus was talking about this because I was a bit incensed when I saw what happened to Kirk, and even more incensed at the reaction that they thought was just acceptable, that they think it can continue in perpetuity and that it will never be challenged and never changed, and that's just untrue. These are people that just don't understand they've lost it, and they really don't understand why they've lost it. They're just hopelessly lost. And that is a scary thing to see those sorts of people being used by the rich individuals that want to enact their own private changes and foreign entities that want to see damage done to the country. So it's wild. Well, everyone, thank you for coming out for the stream. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, I'm sorry for missing the chats that I missed, but I do appreciate the support. I hope you all have a wonderful time ahead of you as we go into the end of the year with, Halloween and Christmas and New Year's, all great holidays, Thanksgiving. Appreciate your families and your loved ones and your friends. Because, to me, again, Kirk was very popular and prolific in what he did, but he was also at his core just a regular guy, like pretty much everybody else. And it can be taken away from you so quickly. All it takes is one fucking lunatic, and it's just gone. So don't regret that shit. That would be my best advice to you. All right, folks,